You know, on the back of all these books, it says, there is no help, there is no hope, there is only the crossed. And I've come to find that that's not referring to the details within the books. That is referring to the fact that once you start reading these books, you will never escape them. Because there is always more to read. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Canine Cannibalism. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the first half of Crossed Badlands, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 volumes of Crossed Badlands. Technically, in the Crossed series, it is volumes 4 through 9. If you have not already watched my first Crossed review, where I go over Crossed, the original, Crossed Family Values, the second volume, Crossed 3D, just like volume 2.5, whatever, and then Crossed 3 Psychopath. So, Crossed volume 3 Psychopath, whatever. If you haven't seen that, go watch that right now, because some of this stuff is not going to make sense. Mostly, this stuff is completely disconnected, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But there are 2 arcs in this video that will make 0 sense, or close to 0 sense if you haven't seen that video, or at least read Crossed Psychopath. And this is the first 49 issues, normal issues of Crossed Badlands. These volumes also contain I believe it's the 2013, right? Yeah, 2013 annual issue and special issue. So I think that's for 51 issues. I don't know. I don't actually know if the special was broken up into multiple issues or not. It doesn't matter. I'd assume not. Literally does not matter at all. The normal Badlands issues plus the annual and the special equates to 14 separate arcs. These 6 books contain 14 separate arcs in the Crossed universe. Long gone are the days of one volume in the Crossed series being one story. Each of these is broken up into 2 or 3 arcs. This series is a fucking chore. This series is a goddamn motherfucking chore. Cuts might be slightly more frequent in this video because for some reason the last time when I recorded the Grandpappy and the Womb video back to back, my recording software decided to be annoying. So now I am constantly looking over and doing like a weird fast movement dance to try to see if there are any skips in the frame rate. So far we're good, but I'm going to be doing that in between every part, so there might be very, very frequent cuts because I really do not want to have to re-record this. Anyway, this video, we are going to be doing a trigger warning for Crossed Badlands as a whole. I'm not trigger warning all of the 14 arcs. I'm just not. There's going to be a trigger warning in this video, and then the next video is going to be whatever happened in these issues plus whatever happens in the next 8 issues, right? 14 plus 3, 7. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the next 8 issues. So I do not really care about the trigger warning for this one. I'm going to be honest with you. It is a secondary thing. I'm just going to say right off the bat, if you get triggered by pretty much anything, not the series for you. If you like not wasting your money on buying, I mean, I guess you could buy individual issues, but that would probably end up being more expensive than just buying a volume with one issue that's good and one issue that's bad. So if you enjoy having money, probably not the series for you either. Anyway, we're also going to be I'm going to be summarizing the 14 arcs for you, and then I'm going to be providing you a review of those 14 arcs, or swap them. The review and then summary, doesn't matter. It's going to be a time. It's going to take me a long ass time. Some of the summaries are longer than others. Some of them are quite short because honestly I just didn't care enough about the fucking material in the arc the material did not justify an actual summary of the plot. Well, you'll see. So yeah, and then I guess I'll do a little review of the totality of what I have read so far of Crossed. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a fucking lot of pages. Son of a bitch. Now, with my preliminary complaining out of the way, let's jump into a trigger warning, shall we? If you were to pick up a copy of, I guess that my fucking spiel doesn't work for this because it's fucking 6 separate books. If you were to pick up Cross Badlands and read through the first 49 plus the 2013 special plus the 2013 annual issues, God, my English is, I am struggling to speak English properly today. If you were to pick up anything Cross Badlands related, here's what you might find. This is what is, all of this stuff is contained at some point within the first 49 issues, plus the 2013 annual, plus the 2013 special. Anyway, you would find gore, torture, mutilation, and death. You would also find, as subcategories of that, cannibalism, genital mutilation, self-harm, suicide, miscarriage, including forced abortions and miscarriages, like people cutting babies out of pregnant women. You would also find sexual abuse, including sexual assault, rape, wound fucking, necrophilic acts, and incest. You would also find child abuse, including physical abuse, which includes murder and death, sexual abuse, and infanticide. In this book, there is a little bit of shit, a little bit of urine, and a little bit of vomit. Nothing necessarily sexual, just people taking a shit, pissing on other people, vomiting, that sort of stuff. I think the Crossed rub shit on themselves at one point. Doesn't matter. There's also animal abuse, including physical abuse, sexual abuse, and then there's also animal death. In terms of general filth, the only thing that I could really note was poor hygiene. I might even cut that section out of this fucking video. If it's in there, I didn't cut it out. And yeah, there's a trigger warning. So, since I don't really want to fucking take all night, let's jump into the fucking first arc of Cross Badlands. Arc number 1 is called Badlands, which is where Cross Badlands comes from, I would assume. I'm going to be giving these a rating out of 10. I would give this a 9 out of 10. This one, I believe, is Garth Ennis, and much like his other work, the original Crossed, it's one of the only good parts of this mini series, part of a series, part of a larger series, doesn't matter. I would refer to this one as being short and sweet. There's more talk, and this comes up later again, and it becomes canonical, essentially, but there's more talk about the blood, like, burning during a transformation, or, like, seeping in to your, like, brain and burning you. That does become pretty much canonical later on in the arcs, but I just noted that because that was a thing that I don't know if harped on is the right word, talked about a good bit in my last video. I'm going to plug that as much as I can, sorry. A quick summary for you. There is a man who is leading a group across the Scottish Highlands in the dead of winter, post-Sea Day. That wasn't a word that was used in the first 3 volumes. I haven't used that yet. That is what the people in these arcs begin to refer to the day that this all happened as, is Sea Day, Cross Day. I don't know. I know in 100 Plus they refer to it as the surprise or whatever, but we're not there yet. I'm going to refer to it as Sea Day. One of the numbers of their group is pregnant. They catch a member stealing bread, and they cut his Achilles tendon so that he cannot run away and will serve them as a distraction for the Crossed that are following them. The pregnant girl gives birth, during which both her and her child die. Soon after, a member with a high-powered rifle is sawed in half by the Crossed, and the group makes a break for the gun, but everyone crosses, essentially. The story ends with the leader being unable to pull the pin on a grenade and kill himself. And that's the end of Arc 1. Like I said, very short, very sweet. Arc 2, Homo Superior, 2 out of 10. The writing in this arc, these issues. Okay, so there's 2 types of writing that I'm talking about here. Let me preface this. The actual plot direction, like the writing, the plot beats, the story beats, and then the literal there's a narrator, I guess, kind of, but it's also like kind of meant to be in some of the characters' heads at some point, like some of the characters' thoughts. The narrator speak is mind-numbingly pretentious. It's so unnecessary for the type of book this is. It's like constantly using metaphors and like there's a kid smoking and it refers to it as him being like in a fucking cradle of his own smoke, lost in the noise of wonderful music, like that kind of shit. Like just constantly describing things in like the most wordy chat GPT-esque way possible, if you get what I'm saying. It is terrible to read. And then the plot beats are also just not great. Like the plot is just not good. It's just not great, which is really unfortunate considering how much it ties into later issues, or a later issue, and then I know there's another later issue that's like the culmination of the series that it ties into. It's just really unfortunate. I just did not like the plot. I did not like the writing. I thought the character direction was really weird. It was just unnecessary. I just did not like it at all, really. There is an issue that we will get to that is worse than this, but this is the second worst in this series as I've reviewed it so far. I'm thinking if I would consider Cross 3D worse, and actually that's a tough call. That is a really tough call. I think Crossed 3D would actually be better just because it is shorter. Like they're both an equal level of pain. Oh, but the Cross 3D fucking gimmick was such a pain to read. I don't even remember the art in this one being that good though. Like it like didn't blow me out of the fucking water. It was just kind of bog standard. Fuck. That's a doozy. I'm gonna have to think on that more. Is Crossed 3D worse than that or not? Anyway, summary. A man, Greg, comes across an ex-soldier woman named Steve. I did not know that that was a gender-neutral name. It might be short for something that I can't think of off the top of my head. If you know, drop that in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. We also meet two twins who are far too attached to each other. And we also meet a boy named Leon, who's a fuck-up kid from a survivor camp of racist redneck inbred meth-using swamp rats. Those are your characters. Steve and Greg fuck, as you do in the Crossed universe. Leon gets beat by his father, so he laces some of the meth with crossed blood and then blows the compound up. Leon and the twins meet up, and then Greg and Steve join them when they are all set upon by the methed-out crossed remnants of Leon's father's camp. After killing the crew, they travel together for a while. Steve realizes that she is pregnant with Greg's baby. One of the twins kills Leon after he fucks her sister, and then they say that he raped her and beat her, even though it was the twin sister that beat her. It's a whole thing. Both twins cross. Greg tries to abandon Steve, so she kneecaps him and leaves him as a distraction for the cross that are following them. Crossed Greg and the now pregnant twins, and a couple others of them, catch up with Steve. She manages to kill them all but Greg and the twin sisters, and then she leaves her baby on the beach and says that she it's like the same fucking excuse that the woman gave in Big Head, where she's like, oh, I'll come back for you, I'm just gonna draw them away or whatever. She goes back for the baby and realizes that the twins have it. She walks up to the twins. They're at a campfire. They're eating Greg. They are able to control themselves. These are some of the first crossed in the series that we've met that have any sort of self-control, like the mother in Psychopath, or not Psychopath, Family Values, kind of. And they essentially tell her, you need to eat this meat and become crossed with us and adapt, or we're going to kill you and the baby, essentially. And the book ends with Steve eating the meat. Yeah. So 2 out of 10 for that one. We have the third arc, which is titled Yellow Belly. I would say it's pretty good. It's a solid upper 6 to low 7 out of 10. And we get some more Herald lore, which is interesting, I guess, is a word you could use to describe it. So, summary, kid named Yellow Belly, or that's his nickname, just graduated high school. He goes to a circus with his dad and his brother, and the Crossed show up. He hides the cross to kill his dad and his brother, or well, the cross crossed his dad, and then his dad rapes his brother, and he hides in a barrel while it happens, and then the cross kill them before they're able to get to him. The cross show up in the town when he gets home, and they kill his mom, and he hides in the closet, and that's like his thing. He hides, and he pisses himself, and then he falls asleep. He gets roped into fighting the cross with some town kids. The cross end up killing everyone, and one of the kids tries to block him from leaving because the kid has like a death wish and wants everyone to die fighting, and so Yellow Belly shoots him in order to escape. Yellow Belly realizes it's his mission on this earth to warn the towns nearby of the cross, and he drives to a nearby town, tries to tell people. They don't listen to him. He ends up telling a group of bikers who travel back the way he came, and they're like, holy shit, this kid's not lying to us. That's crazy. He gets roped into fighting with the bikers. He hides, then tries to save one of the female bikers, but accidentally shoots her thinking she's crossed. Lore from Volume 3 randomly shows up, tells Yellow Belly to fuck her body, which Yellow Belly does, and then Lore does as well. Then he tells him how to stage the situation to look like it was a justified killing, so Yellow Belly blows the rest of her face off and then positions the crossed body closer to her. Yellow Belly ends up confessing to the bikers, who almost kill him before more cross show up and kill them all the bikers. Yellow Belly ends up manning up, and he saves one of the female bikers who he originally confessed to. The two go off, and he protects her the whole day, and then they fuck, and after he falls asleep, she bashes his head in with a rock. So, arc number 4, The Golden Road. I rated this one 4 to 5 out of 10-ish. In this one, there's a guy who fucks a meat grinder, so that's pretty interesting. This is the issue in which the burning sensation that you get when you cross becomes canonized. It's not like, oh, maybe it's metaphorical anymore. It's very much like, oh, this shit burns like a fever, or this shit, not like a fever, this shit burns like hot iron, like fire, not like a fever feeling, like you're being placed in fire. A cross gets stabbed in the left eye in this one, and then quite literally says, it's okay, I'm not using that part of my brain, and continues to function normally. So very much a left-right brain kind of thing, even though that's a gross oversimplification of how the brain works as far as I understand it. But, you know, I thought that was interesting. Like, that's not subtle. That's very clear about what that's trying to tell us. A summary for you. This one's, the writing isn't terrible, but the fucking characters are absolutely abysmal. Like, not poorly written, but just horrible human beings. There's a guy named Clooney and his girlfriend, and they go on a writer's retreat with a famous author. Essentially, they go to his mansion. Everyone who's on the writer's retreat is made to act in a certain role that the writer has written out for them. And they all do it. And everyone is awful and pretentious and terrible, and his girlfriend cheats on him multiple times with multiple different people in front of him. Clooney goes to town with one of the servants to get away from everyone, but then the crossed are in the town, and on the way back, the servant crosses. It's not great. Clooney locks the servant in the freezer and uses him to kill one of the kids who was fucking his girlfriend in front of him. And then he almost has this servant kill the writer, but the writer's able to get out because his girlfriend lets him out. Clooney gets locked in the dungeon, because of course there's a fucking dungeon. I think they actually mention that in the fucking book. It's of course this writer would have a dungeon in his house. But he manages to nab one of the servant's fingers before they put him in there. The cross break in and start killing everyone. His girlfriend comes down, but as she comes down, he's putting the finger in his mouth, so he crosses as she's opening the door. And he gets out and he kills her, and then the crossed overrun the house. And interestingly, the narration, because we are getting a narration from his point of view throughout the entire book or story, the narration continues. And he talks about how all of his nerves are on fire, how he wants to fuck, how he wants to kill, and then it devolves into him just thinking fuck, 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 fuck over and over again. There is another instance where the crossed individual, their narration continues, and it's in Quisling, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But in that, it just goes from normal plain English to like a scribbling of red instead of an actual narration. So I found this rather interesting, just to show you the perspective of the crossed, because we know they're not stupid. They're just so they're so unable to control their impulses. They're so unable to control their impulses. They're impulsive. They're unable to control their impulses, which results in them not using most of their intelligence. But they are intelligent. They have all of their former intelligence. It's just they choose not to use it because they just carry out their most basic impulses whenever they want to. So, thought that was interesting. The fifth arc is called Conquers All. I rated it a 5 out of 10. So on my rating scale, a 5 is like completely unoffensive mid. Like, it's not great, it's not terrible, it's just mid as fuck. So just keep that in mind. I said this is the first time technically the twins in Homo Superior are the first real time, aside from the mother maybe in Family Values. But this is the first time definitively that we are talking about and to a Crossed who is in control of his faculties and is like, he's described, everyone else is doing fucking zigzags whenever they feel like it. He walks in a straight line towards his goal. Before he crossed, he was a ketamine addict, a very violent man who did the violence for a job. He worked for the mob, the Russian mob, and he didn't like the violence, but he was completely surrounded by it and was desensitized to it. He was also a very headstrong man. So any of those things our main character posits could be why he is the way he is. In this story, a parole officer who is barricaded in her office tells on a tape recorder her story about how she fell in love with a Russian mob enforcer. She does this while tracking him on her computer using his ankle monitor. Her lover, who is crossed over, wakes up and starts to search for her. He focuses on his goal. He does not deviate. He even looks at a group of cross attacking like a SWAT team, and he's like, later. As the story goes, we find out that the mob figured out that he was fucking a cop, and so they essentially give him an ultimatum: you kill her or we kill you. He ends up not being able to kill her, so he has a target put on him. He has a hit put on him, essentially. He manages to come into money somehow. I think it's implied through illicit means. It's one of those, I found money, but we need to go right now. And he says we should leave to her, and she says no. And then she essentially tells him that she used him in order to get to his boss because they're arresting his boss now. Even though in reality she does still love him, that is what happened. So, as punishment, he rapes her. Yeah, that happens. He then gets attacked and crossed after leaving wherever they are, the parole office, the probation office, doesn't matter. And then at the end of her story, she kills herself. Her lover arrives and finds that she's been dead for days. He finds some ketamine in an evidence bag because she's in the evidence locker. And he goes on a bender. And he wakes up hungover, forgetting his last adventure, in the same parking lot where he started. It's identical to when the story started. And then he starts looking for her again. And it's implied that this has happened maybe numerous times at this point, and that it will continue to happen, and that it's a cycle. So, arc number 6 is called Livers. This is a 3 out of 10. It's not absolutely terrible. I might even say that's more of a 4 out of 10. It's just far too fantastical for my tastes. It deals with Amanda back from Psychopath. You should go watch that video. I'm going to put it, or I guess it's over here. Put it up here in this corner right now, and before that, and anytime I mention it. So you should definitely go watch that. Amanda runs into a group of characters called the Livers, who each adopt a character, their own character that they act out. One's a knight, one's like an Indiana Jones type, and one's an ape man. And then they shed their character when they're confronted with the Crossed, and then when they kill the Crossed, when they overcome the Crossed, they are reborn and can choose a new character. That's essentially how this works. One of their numbers dies and she replaces them, and also she and her group are cannibals, and they eat what they call nogwump, but it's human flesh. They eat humans that they think are not going to be able to survive on their own, and they call it nogwump so as to remove the idea of it being human from their minds so that it's easier for them to kill these people and then eat them. A story is much longer than that, but it deals with a bunch of fantasy nonsense about, like, one of the guys is a knight, but then when he's reborn, he becomes the knight's lover, and he accuses Amanda of fucking the knight, which she had, and then he tries to kill her. It's not great. I'll tell you that right now. It's not great. 7th arc, also Garth Ennis, I believe, the Fatal Englishman. You'll see a pattern here. This one is an 8 to 9 out of 10. So I would give the original about a 9 to 10 out of 10. I would give Cross Badlands, the first issue of this, a 9 out of 10, and I give this an 8 to 9 out of 10. So, you know, this one has a heavy focus and discourse on religion and like why religion is bad. It didn't necessarily feel out of place. It felt like it flowed into the conversations very well, but there is a very sizable chunk of this story where there is a priest character talking to these four soldiers about religion, and they're just like breaking down why Christianity is bad. So that may be kind of infuriating some people. I didn't really find it that much of an issue. It's just, and again, it didn't really feel out of place. It didn't like change the tone at all. It felt natural, at least to me. Just putting that out there. I have one complaint. There is there was a thing that was established in Psychopath, and then is later carried out numerous times throughout these other arcs, where you can trick the crossed by either putting something over your face, because that's how they identify each other, is with the cross, and then also the way of speaking, or you can paint a red cross on your face. Harold, Lore, Amanda, and whatever the leader's name did that in Psychopath, and it worked. It was fine. And then in Quisling, they do that as well, and there's another point where that happens as well. In American Quitters? Yeah, American Quitters. There's a biker, he puts a mask on, or a helmet, a motorcycle helmet, and the cross can't see his face, and so they don't know what to make of him. In this, it doesn't work. For some reason, there's a priest and a bunch of kids, and he tries to do this with all the kids, and the cross don't believe it. Now, that could be easily explained away as they weren't convincing enough, or the crossed in this group were looking for another group to fight and kill, so it didn't matter, especially since they were all children crossed, even though they were just normal kids. So that, but the soldiers very specifically say that doesn't work, which it very clearly does in universe. So I don't know about that. Now, if you just want to consider what Garth Ennis has written as canon, then sure, it doesn't work. But the whole of it very clearly does work. Again, could be explained away. All of it could be explained away. The crossed saw another group of crossed containing mostly children and wanted to fight and kill them and fuck them and whatever. And the soldiers had never seen it work, so they had no idea that if it did or didn't. But I don't know if you should really leave that much up to like the reader. Like, that's an issue with like Marvel and stuff, is like people try to canonize things that are not specifically said in the show to make it make sense. Like, that's not really a good practice. And often it is a thing, like especially in movies, where it is a thing that is just overlooked by the directors and writers, and then the fans, the fucking diehard fans, have to justify it somehow. And it kind of seems that way in this. Like, Ennis just didn't bother reading the other material, maybe? I don't know. Maybe that wasn't entirely intentional, and what I'm saying is what was intended. But I do not know. Anyway, that's really my only complaint, is just the continuity error there. But other than that, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. In this story, 4 soldiers are on their way across the UK to the Ministry of Defence's Biological and Chemical Warfare Center. There is an Englishman, a Scotsman, a Welshman? Sure, Welshman, and an Irishman. They plan to put out a broadcast on the radio, then release any number of biological hazards, effectively killing all crossed in the UK, but also a great number of normal people. They meet a priest traveling with a group of children and protect them while they travel towards some docks, send them out on a boat heading towards that heads towards one of the random islands around the UK. They reach the center and discuss their opinions. They come to the conclusion that leaving the cross to winters and starvation is better than killing every healthy person, because they talk about how at least 2 of the there's a good portion of communities that they've come across that have radios, and then there are 2 communities that they've come across that have radios and gear to survive biological and chemical and radiological threats. And they essentially come to the conclusion that 2 of these communities left alive is not enough. We can't just kill everyone else. That's not right. So they decide to make their last stand outside of the center, because there's a huge-ass group of crossed. As they're walking up, the leader, the Englishman, realizes he can't watch them all die, so he shoots them in the back of the head and then goes out to die, essentially. Arc number 8. is called Quisling. And I would say this one is a solid 8 out of 10. It is overall very, very good and involves another thinking crossed, but this time it's very, like, the crossed has all of his faculties still, except he still has this innate desire to inflict cruelty, which, considering, like, I think his name is Beauregard Salt in Cross 100 Plus, where the virus doesn't really turn him per se. It's just he's able to control it. It's just he innately, because he's a serial killer, wants to inflict cruelty. I'm thinking that might be this kind of situation, because otherwise the cross is completely normal. He just has this unstoppable cruelty, which the normal crossed don't even have. They just are impulsive and have zero inhibitions whatsoever. Like, they're not cruel for the sake of being cruel. They're cruel because they think it's funny or fun. I don't get that vibe from this guy. I get a vibe of he is just evil and was evil before. So, just putting that out there. In this story, a man watches across, or crossed in general, from a window in an apartment. He takes note of one he names Smokey, who is a really, really fucking big crossed, who can think in terms of lengthening his cruelty that he delivers, and that's it. Like, that is his goal. He maintains all of his faculties in order to be able to lengthen the cruelty that he is able to inflict on others. While out scavenging for supplies, the man is caught by Smokey and a group of other crossed. He turns Quisling for him and offers to lead him to other survivors so that Smokey will protect him and won't kill him, essentially. And that is what he does. He leads Smokey to other survivors. He journals about all of this, including a story he heard about twins in Florida who are pregnant, but also have faculties and their ability to think like Smokey. He wakes up one night to Smokey reading his journal. The Quisling tells Smokey about Cheyenne Mountain, about the weapons, and secretly hopes that the soldiers will be able to kill Smokey. Smokey amasses an army from, I think it's Denver. They march on the bunker and manage to breach it. The Quisling rushes inside and looks for a way to kill Smokey. He finds papers going over which WMDs and nuclear reactors the government was able to shut down and which they were not. He tries to burn the papers so Smokey can't find them, but Smokey finds him and tries to make him talk, but the man manages to kiss Smokey and cross. Smokey kills him out of frustration because the man is no longer smart, and the story ends with Smokey looking at a map and heading to Florida. There's one thing I have to talk about. The Quisling is a self-preservationist. And he says at this point it doesn't matter because what he thinks and hopes will happen, what the best case scenario is that the crossed kill all of the uninfected humans, then kill each other, and then the world is wiped clean. However, he then realizes that maybe the crossed will burn down all of the forests and reactivate nuclear reactors and blow up the world. And for some reason he considers that worse than the thing that he was hoping would happen, which is that everyone dies. Everyone dies is worse than everyone dies. The distinction that he makes is that this one leaves nothing left-ish, is kind of what he says. But that doesn't make fucking any sense at all. We already know that there's massive damage to the environment just from a scenario like this, a social collapse, the fires and everything will cause massive damage to the environment. Because I think what he's trying to imply with this is that total environmental collapse and mass extinction, there's already mass extinction happening. All farm animals, all slow animals, all herbivores are going to be extinct because of the crossed. Again, massive environmental impacts of a wide-scale social collapse. These are the same. These are the same. They're both the world wiped clean. The world doesn't fucking care. The world will rebuild. Everything will not go extinct. Life will go on either way. But the story, and the Quisling make this distinction. And I don't think that's supposed to be a character flaw or a flaw in his thinking. I think that's just they differentiate them in the writing for some reason when they're not. In this one, everyone dies, but he just ignores the already prevalent mass extinction of larger animals and environmental impacts. And in this one, everyone dies, but he doesn't ignore all of the mass extinction and environmental impacts. Like, in terms of geology, irradiating larger portions of the planet will not render the world uninhabitable forever. That's not how that works. And he's supposed to be a scientist looking at this stuff objectively, or he's an anthropologist or whatever. Like, these are equal. They're equal in their badness for the world. This one might be a little bit worse. Like, the use of radiation ain't great, but you are talking about the world wiped clean in both, and in both that will happen. This one is not much worse in terms of the world being wiped clean. In terms of actual, like, geological time span or life, like in the fucking in terms of geological time and evolutionary time, what is it? However many years it takes for radiation to disintegrate and life would evolve anyway. It's just such a weird distinction to try to make. It's, if you're already completely fine with the world being wiped clean, why would you also not be fine with the world being wiped clean? I don't know. I'm harping on this far too much. It's really not that big of a deal. It just was very odd that they chose to make that distinction in the writing. Arc number 9, Breakdown. I gave this one a 4 out of 10. And it involves fucking Amanda again. Amanda is out hunting people for her group, and she gets trapped by the Crossed in a basement and hides. One of the people from her group gets turned. I don't know why I keep using the word turned in my notes. He gets crossed. That's one of the main reasons, aside from the big fucking cross on their face, that they're called crossed, is because you cross over. Your face crosses over, literally. They are crossed, they are not turned. Christ. Laura starts talking to her in her head. A man enters the basement and cuts off her other friend, who was not turned's penis, and then throws it in order to distract a group of Crossed who are walking around cutting off people's penises, I guess to make them think that they'd already been there, even though they had already been there, and they just hadn't bothered to cut off the guy's dick. I don't know. Amanda kills him and finds a radio and another device, or a radio slash unnamed device, and talks to the rest of this man's group, and then they come and find her and their friend's body, and she has to stage it to look like a murder, and she does this under the guide of the lore in her head. The group takes her in. She systematically kills them all off using justifications very similar to what lore used about, like, needing to save some of the people, and some of the people being, like, suicidal or dragging the rest of the group down or being terrible people. And so she kills them all, essentially. And then it's revealed that the man in the group and all of the stuff that happened are in her head, and she's actually still in the basement, and the man has just walked into the basement and is going to cut off her friend's penis. And Laura's, like, yelling at her to help, and she just lays there because she knows she's crazy. So, arc number 10, American Quitters. This is a solid arc. It's a 7 out of 10. It slowly got a bit cringe. It ended strong, like, halfway, and then it ended strong kind of weakly the other way. And that's entirely, this is another narration issue, like with Homo Superior. Their narration is so, it's like what, I'm not going to sit here and defend The Boys, which is also by Garth Ennis, but this is what people make a lot of The Boys out to be. Like, it is just so, like, 2019 Redditor, holier than thou, edgy nonsense. Like, the narrator is talking about somebody being smited, and then in parentheses in the narration box it's like smote, smitten, smotted, whatever. It's so, I'll talk to you about it a little more, but it's not great. The style of this one is also absolutely brilliant. It is done in long horizontal panels with narrator boxes in between. It's very different, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the style a lot. Let me give you a summary. So, a hippie, a biker, and a pregnant Mexican woman are all traveling together, each to their own end, essentially. The hippie is running to die from some wonder strain of, I guess, cannabis or something natural, like some like mushrooms or something, that will instantly OD you. Apparently, is what he says. It says he's heard of a wonder strain of something that will instantly OD you when you take it after, like, the biggest high of your life. And he's doing this because he was on a bad trip and he scared his wife and child out of the house, and this was during C Day, and then they got raped and murdered in front of him. the biker is running to kill a rival biker who is crossed and who essentially had his entire crew killed on C-Day. And he feels guilty because he was behind the building that they were all in, jerking off to Asian scat porn. Is pretty much what it is. And he is expecting that when he kills the biker, he is going to be overwhelmed and die, but he's hoping to be able to kill the biker before that happens. And the woman is running away from her husband, who wants to kill her, to end her and her baby's suffering. And then she's also running toward an island in the Atlantic, I think it is, where her family is, and she knows it's safe. And they all slowly become friends. They find the hippie's wonder drug, but the biker gives it to the woman so that he can't use it until the biker is done with his thing. First, the biker needs to kill his rival, and then the hippie must shoot him if he crosses, and then the hippie will get his drug. The husband arrives and fatally shoots the biker, and the hippie runs, and the Mexican woman calls him a pussy and gives the wonder drug to the biker, and the biker takes it and ODs and dies. The hippie, distraught by his pussiness, sears a cross into his forehead using the butt of a doobie, a blunt. I don't know if it's even called a blunt. I don't smoke. I'm not going to act like I've been here before. I don't fucking smoke, so I have no idea what he's the stub, whatever. He walks up to the rival, kills him, and then gets torn apart. And the woman, and I'm gonna to accentuate the cringiness of the narration, I'm going to tell you this exactly how the narrator puts it. So he talks about how a man who lived in hate, the biker, died in the cradle of love, and no lesson was learned. The hippie, a man who lived in love, dies in the cradle of hate, and no lesson was learned. And the woman found her island. And then on the next page is a full scene of the woman being torn apart by Crossed, and it's in parentheses, ellipses. But the island was already overrun, and her own cousin stabbed out her guts and did things to her baby in front of her before she died. And then it goes back into the end. In the end, she wished that she was able to choose her death at her own time, like her husband wanted to do for her. And on her lips was the word mierda, and no lesson was learned. And then the arc ends. So that's the kind of narration we're talking about. Is like I mean, that's just, it's so fucking stupid. Like, you could have phrased that like that. That is a perfectly fine plot point. I think that's actually a great plot point. But to phrase it like that, like as an almost an afterthought, or like as a and this happened edgy thing, is just fucking stupid. It's just stupid. That is the only thing dragging this arc down. Otherwise, I thought it was fucking brilliant. I love the style. I thought it was very different. I thought it was very good. Arc 11, Gore Angels. This one's a very mid 5 out of 10. There are 3 college students who have traveled to Japan. One of them meets up with his Japanese ex-girlfriend who was gang raped and then left America because of it. Her ex brought his ex-best friend, who still thinks they're best friends, who is one of her rapists and the guy who recorded it. He wants her to have her revenge. C-Day happens while they are in Japan, and a crossed reaches enlightenment is actually literally how it's phrased, is that this guy takes a near-fatal dose of a very rare form of psilocybin. He is then infected, and then he drills a hole in his skull and is mind-fucked by another crossed, and then the infected semen gets into his brain. And it quite literally describes him as having reached enlightenment, because the whole book takes place in like a Buddhist like monastery, or a town full of Buddhist monks. And then it's like he saw the light, and the light was purple, and so every time we get his perspective, it's like almost him seeing from the third eye, and it's all like purple light, like weird. It's very odd. This all gets revealed. The whole rape thing gets revealed while they're in the girlfriend's house, and the rapist gets tied up, but the girlfriend lets him go. Her ex, her parents, and the rapist's now ex-girlfriend are all crossed by the enlightened one, and she kills them and then kills herself. Finn, you know? We have Arc 12, which is titled The Big Yin, with a apostrophe. I just lost the word there, instead of an E. So The Big Yin. The Big Yin. This is a 6 out of 10. Okay, we need to talk about this. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. I've talked about this a lot. The man in this story is Scottish. Okay? He has a very strong Scottish accent. When you write a character, you can look at any number of books, movies, or not movies, books, comic books, whatever. You do not need to write every single bit of their fucking accent. Especially when it is something like Scottish. Or like a very, very like southern drawl. You don't. It makes it a chore to read. It is literally like reading in another language. 2 examples in this series that I have read so far where they tackled accents brilliantly. Fatal Englishman, and then the 14th arc, The Wizard of Aus. In the Fatal Englishman, you have a Scotsman, a Welshman, again, don't know, an Englishman, and an Irishman. And their accents they come across in the way they speak. You can use contractions. You can use specific words to the area, like in The Wizard of Oz. He uses the word Sheila to describe women. You can do that in The Wizard of Oz, Australia, the strong Australian accent. It comes across in the writing, but it's not unintelligible. It's not illegible. Now, I believe, so this character comes from Crossed Wish You Were Here, which I will be reading at some point. And I'm assuming by the way he talks, and because I know there's a lot of other people in that story, that he's a minor character. And that works fine for a minor character. I think the Welshman in the Fatal Englishman had a very, very strong accent. But he was a minor character. He barely spoke. That's perfectly fine. This guy narrates the entire thing in this fucking... It's not a dialect. It's Scottish accent written out in plain English. And then Scottish contractions like did nay instead of did not. It is infuriating. There are still certain words that he used that were not like Scottish slang or anything that I still was not able to piece together. The reason that hearing somebody speak with an accent like that, assuming it's not like an incredibly, incredibly strong Scottish, Irish, Australian, less so, accent, works is because you have the context and the way they're moving and everything, and it comes across. You can ask for clarification. It does not work in a piece like this. It does not. It does not work, and I will die on this hill. I've died on this hill before. It does not. I've complained about it before with some of fucking Edward Lee's writing with the strong-ass southern dialect, the fucking Mr. Torso. Like, you don't need to do that. You do not. There's no reason for it. You can get across an accent and leave most of it up to the reader's imagination without making your fucking writing illegible, unreadable. It annoys me far more than it should, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, with that said, it's still a 6 out of 10. It's not terrible. Oh, another thing, very similar to the Reddit humor from the American Quitters. There is a scene, or a series of panels, where the Scotsman is fighting Icelandic people. It's Icelandic crossed, and they're speaking Icelandic. That is fine and a rather interesting choice, considering in every other issue of Crossed where somebody is speaking a different language, it does the fucking carrots. And randomly in some of them, it gives you a little box that says translated from whatever. I've never seen that before in other graphic novels and comics, but that might be common. Anyway, in this one, it gives you a translation of the Icelandic instead of giving it to you in carrots in English. And the fucking translation is like Reddit humor. Like they're saying kanta, which I'm assuming translates to cunt. But when I actually looked it up to translate it, and I actually translated all the Icelandic using Google Translate, apparently cunt in Icelandic is like kuna or something. So I don't know about that. That might just be a slang thing. Or I'm not going to question the actual translation of it. I'm just saying. But instead of saying, like, in the bottom right corner, cunt, they're saying, they put it female genitals. Or when the Icelandic guy is talking about how the guy's gun is big and how he has a big gun for him and he needs to come over and suck on it, the fucking text is like, Ah, yes, a large weapon. I have a large weapon worthy of such a noble man. Come over here and masticate. Come over here and chew and swallow, my friend. Like, it's just so out of place. Even though the guy in the book is crazy, and the story is crazy, and everything is kind of whoop-de-doo, it still is just so tonally different and out of place and stupid. It's just stupid. It's just unnecessary on so many different levels. I don't know. Again, it's just little things like that. I don't know why a bunch of the writers in this just think they're funny when they're not. Like, that's not funny. This isn't a fucking co- comic book. Like, this is not comedy. It's not meant to be funny. It can be. You could absolutely write a dark comedy version of Cross. Maybe there is an issue, an arc, whatever that I haven't gotten to yet that is that. This was not that tonally. And then to do some shit like that is just so random. It's the same thing with American Quitters. Like, tonally, that is just such a. It ruins. It tonally ruins parts of the story. I digress. Summary. A Scotsman, who's, again, the character from Wish You Were Here, he tells a story to someone who he has tied up. We don't see them until the end. He tells a story of his life. He was in the military, and in the military, he kept running into this woman who appeared to be, who appeared to work in some sort of intelligence agency, and she was always working on some sort of chem weapon thing, like chemical weapons. He was in the Falklands during the Falkland War, and like she was part of the people who were dropping chemical bombs, that kind of stuff. One day, after the steel curtain falls, him and his team are made to go kill her and her outpost. She sprays him in the face with a prototype of whatever chem weapon they were creating that drives him insane. And so he's now insane. He hallucinates. All of his like panels where it's just him thinking are like full of weird like trippy imagery in the background. It's very cool. It's a very cool. The art direction is very interesting. I liked it. Afterward, after she sprays him, he shoots some of his teammates, and he is dishonorably discharged. And then years later, C-Day happens. He goes back to the outpost, believing that the woman's outpost created the crossed virus or whatever it is. Or I guess in this case it would be a chemical weapon, the crossed chemical weapon. And then it's revealed to the reader that he is currently in the outpost, and talking to a tied up person in the outpost after breaking in and killing all of the people who were living inside. And then it's also revealed that the woman is the one sitting in front of him. And then it's further revealed when the person in front of him is talking to him and breaks the facade that it's not actually the woman, it's some random guy. And that the Scotsman is hallucinating. The man tells him that the woman died due to the crossed, and that the outpost was never making a real chemical weapon. They were approached secretly by numerous agencies, intelligence agencies, to essentially create a fake chemical weapon in order to throw off their opponents, but like literally every single intelligence agency came to them to do it. So they were all trying to trick each other while simultaneously being tricked, so that no one was being tricked, really, is what was happening. And then he goes further and says, "You were driven crazy by a puff of steam." And the Scotsman kind of loses it a little bit and shoots him. And then leaves. And that's it. Arc 13, second to the last, the penultimate. Grave New World. This is the worst. Bar none. This is the worst. This was painful. It was like 90% of the volume that it was in, so it was long as fuck. Misery. This one is misery. This is a 1 out of 10. I debated giving it a 0, but I feel like that's too harsh. What did I write? Holy shit, that was garbage. Oh, this has a, so if you've read the Walking Dead comics, there is an issue earlier on in the series where whoever was drawing the characters drew them all so similar that like you couldn't tell Maggie and Glenn apart. And oh god, Andrea's design changed so that she looked like Amy did. And then there's a really convoluted explanation from the writer about that. It doesn't matter. And Maggie's design changes multiple times. And this story has that issue. There are 3 women who have identical character models. two of which are almost indistinguishable because of their hair color. The other one is a redhead, so it's kind of easy to tell her apart. But I kept, because of the lighting of the panels, I thought one of the other women was also a redhead. She wasn't. And the two women are further complicated by the fact that one is wearing a certain outfit throughout the entirety of the story, and then randomly the other one is wearing that outfit. It also doesn't help that the story is constantly jumping large portions of time, and like characters are dying off page without a mention of that, except for like a flashback. One of them just kind of goes missing and we don't see him again. So, yeah. What even fucking happens in this? Oh, a whole lot of nothing, actually. That answered my question. I didn't even do that intentionally, but that instantly answers my question. Uh, so there's a captain, and he collects people off of other ships and tries to bring them onto his ship to make a paradise. And they're all traveling towards a paradise of an island, or they think it's a paradise. That's like an old naval base. And he's super strict. It ends up being a theocracy. He talks about how he's like a prophet and he's been reborn and blah 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 blah. No one's allowed to fuck. No one's allowed to swear. There's a lot of weird religious stuff, and then everyone kills each other and dies. And the cross kill each other and kill everyone and they die. Yeah. And that's what happens. And it's terrible. Terrible. The last arc that I'm going to tell you about today was I didn't tell you what one the annual was. The annual was the Big Yin, I believe, and then this is the 2013 special, the Wizard of Aus. Aus, so like Australia, the Wizard of Aus. This is a 7 out of 10. I would say it's pretty good. There's one issue I have with the plot. It's just, it could just be explained away as a character in universe not thinking clearly, but the style, there are three main characters. There's the guy, Todd, the main trucker. There's the woman and her husband. So the woman, Daphne, the husband, shit, I don't fucking remember his name. I didn't even bother writing it down. Doesn't matter. He's the beta male, essentially. And the comic is framed as like an interview panel. Like there's a panel of the person. It's like a headshot with a white background and they're talking like it's an interview. And then there's panels of the story. And then there's an interview panel of the next person. And then there's panels of the story. But they like in the interview panels, they change so like one guy gets beaten up. So in the next time he's in the interview panel, he's like got a black eye and a blindfold on or whatever. So, and like one of the characters crosses and then they're in the panel crossed yelling about like crossed things. I found that to be really cool. I thought the art and the color especially, I really liked in this one. I don't know why. It was just very colorful in certain parts. I liked it. I think that just had a lot to do with the interview panels in general. Had like they were shaded in a like a light, very light colors, differing light colors, I think. I don't know. I liked this one. So, as I said, 7 out of 10, pretty good. There's a man and a woman who join a road train, and it's like all decked out with like Mad Max shit, ran by a man named Todd. Todd only takes women, and he has them be his harem. He doesn't force himself on them physically, but he's created like a hierarchical structure where certain women who sleep with him more get better guns and food and beds. So all of the women are driven to sleep with him more and become his I don't know, bottom bitch, I guess. Isn't that the phrase where for the pimp's top girl? I don't fucking remember, it doesn't matter. The man of the couple pretends to be gay, but Todd eventually kills him anyway because the guy was like contemplating like talking too loud to his wife about killing Todd. The woman then starts getting closer and closer to Todd before killing him and getting the key to the truck and driving away. And there's one issue I have with this. So Todd, he keeps the key in a lockbox on his wrist, okay, like a bracelet. And they even say in the book there are 10,000 combinations. And so why she was fucking him so much is because every time he fucks, he falls asleep. So then she was able to try combinations. She did this for months. So my only issue is, why would you not just kill him? Why would you find the combination and then kill him? And it's kind of a symbolic thing because she kills him and then throws him overboard so that the crossed version of her husband. So Todd didn't actually technically kill him. He threw him off of the truck, and then the crossed him. And so she throws Todd off of the truck to her crossed ex-husband. And I guess that's kind of a symbolic thing, but it's not really phrased. Like, they don't talk about that, like, she waited. It's almost phrased like as soon as it was happening, she killed him as soon as she found the combo. But 10,000 combinations, you could bang that out in a night. And they stopped for the whole night, so it's not like she'd be in danger. You could also just lock all the doors to the cabs and stuff, but whatever. You could. I don't understand why you wouldn't just kill him and then do all of the combinations. Again, 10,000 really isn't that many. It would be mind-numbing. It would take a fucking long-ass time, but it's not like an insane amount. She even says it takes a couple of seconds to try a code. So it wouldn't really take that long. I don't remember how many seconds there are in a day. It's a lot, though. Fuck. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I just felt that was kind of a thing. I don't know that it was necessarily an oversight. Again, that very easily could be like a symbolic thing. Like, she wanted her husband, who he caused the death of, to kill him. But she, like, completely got rid of her humanity by fucking this guy and then also abusing the other woman in order to become the bottom bitch, whatever, the top girl. Like, it just, I don't know. There, like, you could have just killed him the first night and then tried the combinations. Like, that really would not have taken that long. You could have done that when your husband was alive. Like, that really would not have been an issue. I don't know. That's it. I have another, I guess, 51, so 50 through 100 issues to read. And then, okay, well, 53, right? Because it was this is 1 through 49, and then it's 50 through 100 plus the 2014 annual and the 2014 special. So I have a good few issues to read. Again, it's 8 volumes as opposed to 6 here, even though it's almost an equal number of issues. So, yeah, that's going to be something. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, my opinions are my opinions. Watch the video, buy the good ones. Buy the Garth Ennis ones is really my suggestion to you. Buy the Garth Ennis ones and Quisling, and so far that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If any of them sounded interesting to you, I guess buy the individual issues for those arcs. You can find the arc issue listings on the Wikipedia page. I can't guarantee that they're entirely accurate. But also that might end up just being more expensive than buying the volumes themselves. Buying like 6 individual issues versus buying one volume for $20-something, $25. It might end up being more expensive. So I don't know. That's up to you. You do not need to read all of the arcs in order to understand the rest of them. I can tell you right now, it has nothing to do with like the earlier arcs being better, aside from not counting the first 3 books. Those are definitively, actually, I mean, Family Values is kind of mid, and Psychopath is kind of just weird, and Cross 3D is just kind of terrible. So really, it is also counting those. It's kind of random. It's really just the Garth Ennis ones are good, and the rest are just kind of mid, except for Quisling. Quisling is pretty good. And I think there was one other that was I liked American Quitters. I liked Wizard of Aus, but I don't know. I don't know that I'd really recommend the series if I'm honest. I mean, I always supporting the authors, so I will leave some links in the description. Maybe, I don't know. It's so hard to find like the 4th volume, or so Cross Badlands Volume 1, so Cross Volume 4. It's really hard to find that volume. Like, you have to buy it from eBay, and then the rest are just like on Amazon, I think, except for one other, maybe. It might just be the 4th that's not on Amazon, or the 5th. I don't remember fully. So I'll do my best with that. I mean, read it if you think it's interesting. Really, I would suggest sticking to the Garth Ennis. I would stick to the first one, maybe Family Values and Psychopath, and then pick and choose if any of these, even if I didn't like it, if some of them sounded interesting, pick and choose some of the volumes maybe that can contain those. But yeah, I mean, my opinions are my opinions. You're welcome to form your own. Forming your own opinions is always great. If you disagree with my opinions, that's perfectly fine. Put what you think in the comments below. I will respond to you. I respect your opinions. Just remember that I'm a person on the internet, and my opinion holds no weight to you for you whatsoever. If you don't want it to, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, tell me anything you want. Go watch the other video, the first video in this series. This next video coming out will also be Crossed Badlands. It will be the latter half of the Crossed Badlands issues. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.